Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. We're about to take a wild ride through Kamala Harris's so-called media blitz, and let me tell you, it's more of a media breakdown. Well, Americans are struggling with inflation, border chaos, and now Hurricane Milton in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Our illustrious VP is chatting about frat boys on podcasts. But it gets worse. Wait until you hear her fumble through questions on CBS. It's not just embarrassing, it's downright dangerous. The question is, who is really running the country and what is she thinking? Now, folks, watching Kamala's media tour is like witnessing a car crash in slow motion. You can't look away. But you know it's going to be ending badly. And speaking of bad endings, let's talk about your car. In these uncertain times, you need eyes on the road, even when you're not behind the wheel. That's where Car Vision X comes in. This state-of-the-art dash cam could save you from legal nightmares and insurance battles. It's like having a personal witness 24/7. Don't let your story become a word cell like Kamala Harris's interviews. Visit carvisionx.com now for free shipping. Protect yourself on and off the road because, unlike our VP, you can't afford to be caught off guard. Okay, this is man, I got a lot to unpack for you guys here. Now, it's Kamala Harris. She's going to be going on this big media tour. She's hitting all the major shows. And she did it this weekend, and she's got more planned. She got The View planned for tomorrow. We've got the list breakdown here. Kamala Harris going on The View, going on Stephen Colbert, and this Call Her Daddy podcast. That's what she did yesterday. And ABC. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, CBS. Listen to this response to this question. She gets smoked here. Watch this.
And you strengthen my plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes.
Okay. The richest people are going to pay their fair share. That's what she just said. That's how she's going to pay for it. Raising taxes.
It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. And I plan on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
You know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about. Their constituents are those firefighters and teachers and nurses.
Okay, what she's doing here is she's pitting people against each other. She's pitting these working class people against the rich people. So if you're one of those working class individuals, oh, it's those rich people, they're the problem. How are you going to pay for all this? CBS calls out Kamala on her fantasy economic plan to raise taxes in order to pay for her woke agenda. And we're dealing with the real world here. Tim Walz had a disastrous appearance on Fox News Sunday. Oh, it was brutal. It was brutal. This is only the beginning of the disastrous media tour that they're trying to do because they know their campaign is collapsing. Everybody sees it. Even the mainstream media sees it. Elon Musk blasting Tim Walz. What Walz is saying is utterly false. In fact, real Donald Trump recently posted that he would veto a nationwide abortion ban. And here's Tim Walz claiming Donald Trump and Vance are asking for a nationwide abortion ban.
Listen, The situation we have is when you don't have the ability of healthcare providers to provide that, that's where you end up with a situation like Amanda Zaworski in Texas, where they are afraid to do what's necessary. This doesn't change anything. It puts the decision back on to the woman, to the physicians, and we know that this is simply something to be brought up to be very clear. Donald Trump's asking for a nationwide abortion ban.
Wait, he
and
has said
again,
that
we don't see this as a winning campaign.
He has said repeatedly that he will not sign a national abortion ban. Are you calling that just, it's a flat-out lie?
Yes, of course. And Senator Vance has in the past said so too. Now look, they may see this as an election issue. We see it as a right of women to make their own bodily decisions. And that's what the states like my state have the ability to put that in. States like Georgia force women to cross the border, and then we have a death of Amber Thurman. So let's be very clear. Trying to cut hairs on an issue on this is not where the American public's at. They want the restoration of Roe versus Wade. Vice President Harris said she would sign it. The situation.
I always find it ridiculous whenever I see men arguing for women's rights. It just seems very bizarre. But yeah, so Elon Musk blasted him for that. Here's okay. So this is another clip from Kamala Harris on the Call Her Daddy program, where women talk about things.
Is to communicate.
I'm curious, like, you don't do too many long form interviews. What made you want to do Call Her Daddy today?
Well, I think you and your listeners have really got this thing right, which is one of the best ways to communicate with people is to be real, you know, and to
just be real. Yeah, just one of the best ways to communicate, just to be real. Shut up.
Talk about the things that people really care about. I mean, what I love about what you do is that your voice in your show is really about your listeners. And I think especially now, this is a moment in the country and in life where people really want to know they're seen and heard and that they're part of a community, that they're not out there alone. And so I'm really glad to be with you.
I'm curious if you don't.
Man, it's just a train wreck after train wreck. Okay. This next post here from the Trump War Room. Why should we trust you is the question.
Why should we trust you?
So I'll say this. Look, you can look at my career to know what I care about.
Why should we trust you?
You just look at my career. Now, they point out, by that metric, Kamala cares about illegal aliens, 70 to 80% tax rates, sex changes for prison inmates, banning gas-powered vehicles, ending fracking, and shipping jobs overseas. There you go. Trump War Room also making a point to, I think, Brian, go vertical with this. Kamala was feeling great as Americans clung to rooftops in desperation amid the botched federal hurricane response. Kamala is in the race for one reason only, herself. She's a disgusting human being. From Trump War Room. Listen, look at this.
How are you feeling? I'm Vice President
Alex.
Welcome to Call Her Daddy.
It is good to be with you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
We're in the final stretch of the election.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
I'm Vice President.
I'm feeling great. Meanwhile, Americans are suffering. Oh, it gets better. Okay. Now, how can we trust you? How can we trust you? Oh, well, look at my record, right? That's what she says. This clip here is probably one of the most devastating clips I've ever seen. Go horizontal, please, Brian. Waltz got confronted on all of his lies in one question. Stolen valor, carrying weapons of war, Tiananmen Square, to how his children were conceived.
People who think Republicans came out against it long before President Trump indicated he didn't like it either. Listen, before we go, because I wish that we had a full hour, I want to give you a chance, because you called yourself a knucklehead this week, to talk about some of your misstatements. Yes. You've modified your story or explained that you misspoke about things involving your military rank, about carrying a weapon in war, your 1995 DUI arrest, using IVF to have your beautiful children, Gus and Hope, being in Hong Kong and China in the summer of 1989 during the Tiananmen events, A lot of people would say they couldn't get away with saying, I'm just too passionate, my grammar's not right, I'm a knucklehead. What do you say to the American people who think, I don't know that I can trust this guy with all those modifications to be the potential commander-in-chief of this country?
Yeah, well, I think they heard me. They heard me the other night speaking passionately about gun violence and misspeaking. And I got to be honest with you, Shannon, I don't think people care whether I used IUI or IVF when we talk about this. What they understand is Donald Trump would resist those things. Look, I speak passionately. I had an entire career, decades before I was in public office. They know, and I'm very proud of my 24 years in service and my record. I have never disparaged someone else in this, but I know that's not what Donald Trump does. They disparage everyone, the personal attacks. I will own up when I misspeak. I will own up when I make a mistake. Let's be very clear.
Republicans.
Those are some pretty big mistakes there, Walls. Pretty big mistakes. Oh, yeah, I was there at Tiananmen Square. Were you? No, I misspoke. Right? Stolen, carrying weapons in war. How his kids were conceived. Being friends with a school shooter. Now Walz and Harris are doing interviews, at least a few. Will that make a difference? I don't think so. Take a look at this chart here. This is Pennsylvania, presidential election winner. Pennsylvania is a swing state, and it looks like right now 56% Republican right there. So they are freaking out right now, and that's why you're seeing this.
Is one of the most what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, sincerely. God have mercy on you, Kamala. So, Brick Soup brought up a really great point on a, this is my reaction here. Kamala, this is what she says. Brick Soup says she's 5 layers deep in qualifiers when she says this. And I had ChatGPT do an analysis. Watch this.
Has resulted.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that...
Yeah. What did you say?
Insanely idiotic. What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, my friends. Okay, so to break it down, ChatGPT, I ran it through to check for the qualifiers. And here's what she says. She says when she says a number of, it softens the impact of movements by making it vague rather than specific. She says very much intensifies the claim about how much the movements were prompted by certain factors, prompted by or the result of. This phrase hedges the cause-effect relationship, indicating either responsibility. Many things, this adds vagueness by implying multiple factors without specifying them, including suggests that advocacy is just one of several factors, again introducing vagueness. What needs to happen is vague language about the future actions without specifying clear outcomes. ChatGPT's summary, qualifiers galore, layers for days, politician speech level, expert mode. Yeah. So, they're having a disastrous media run right now. And of course, Kamala Harris feels like she has to go. They posted this a day ago. Breaking. An incredibly powerful moment. Vice President Harris has joined the relief efforts in North Carolina. Can you imagine Trump doing this? Retweet it so all Americans see this. Yeah. That's like a 10-minute photo op? Here's another photo op. Tim Walz stages it, where runners pretend to know who he is and they're excited to see him. Everything about this man is a lie. Oh, hey, look at all the runners going by. How brainwashed do you have to be to go all in for actress Kamala? I can't believe the Americans are going for big government socialism. Breitbart reports Kamala Harris sends Hollywood media charm offensive. The View, Stephen Colbert, Howard Stern. Oh yeah, she is hitting all of it. The Hollywood-controlled media are rolling out the red carpet for Kamala Harris this week, welcoming the Democrat presidential candidate to a range of friendly media appearances as part of a planned offensive to enhance her likability in the final stretch of the election cycle. They are pulling out all the stops. The mainstream media is pulling out all the stops, booking her on all the shows. You don't see them booking Trump, giving him equal time. No, not at all. It's because her numbers are tanking and they know it. Here is Western Lensman a day ago. Okay? A big shift, Jen Psaki says, is coming to the Kamala Walz campaign.
Cheney was with her out on the campaign. You think about the Harris campaign strategy has gotten some criticism as well for not being basically mixing it up enough, enough events that are unscripted. Former President Obama is going to be out on the campaign trail. Liz Cheney was with her out on the campaign trail. Are you anticipating a strategy shift?
We've already seen them announce this, which I think is a great thing. Vice President Harris has a number of interviews she's doing over the next couple of weeks. Tim Walz, who I think is a huge asset, who hasn't been tapped into nearly enough for the last month, is going to be out there a great deal. And you're right. I mean, the thing is, at this point, when everything matters, you have to take risks. And people may make mistakes. It's worth it. Put them out there and have them doing a bunch of stuff. But we've already seen them announce their plans to do exactly that.
Okay. They're going on friendly media. They're not going to get pressed. They're not going to have hard questions. I mean, I got to give it to the CBS reporter for calling out her economic plan. Where's the money going to come from? But I mean, that's generally just a follow-up question you've heard before from other reporters asking politicians. The fact is that she can't even answer the question. She can't even answer these questions. I mean, at least Walz gets confronted about all this lies by Fox News, but going on some show where they talk about, deprived things, that's not gonna move the needle. That's desperation. And then what else do we have here? Okay. So The View puts out this post. Vice President Kamala Harris joins The View for her first live interview and first talk show appearance since accepting the Democrat nomination for president. If I was in the tank for Kamala, I would not have posted it that way. Her first talk show appearance. I think I replied, oh, I did. Yeah. Hats off to Kamala for finally braving The View. It only took her a cool 62 days after becoming the nominee. Nothing like facing those hard-hitting questions from the clucks like ice cream flavors and yoga poses. Yeah, that's what that whole interview is going to be about. People are dying in North Carolina. Kamala Harris on a podcast for whores talking about where tampons go. Yeah, this is the conversation.
I mean, daddy gang, to put it in our TikTok terms. I have seen girls on the street walk up to men and be like, do you know where a tampon goes? Do you know how many tampons we use? Do you even know do you know what a X or Y or Z is of a part of our, and they don't know the answer.
I was the first vice president or president to ever in office go to a reproductive health care clinic, ever.
Congratulations, Kamala. And of course, she's staging these videos, badly staged videos. This is her and Liz Cheney. Vertical.
I know enough about you to know how strong of character you are and have always been, but this is a particular moment where there are so many forces that are just working against the notion that we all might have anything in common.
Right. And for you to do what you were doing at this moment in time in particular it's pretty extraordinary, and thank you.
Thank you for saying that. It's a privilege, and it really matters. So, thank you for what you're doing.
I know.
These people are a joke. Speaking of Liz Cheney, here's what Joy Behar had to say.
I would say to those Republicans out there who are sitting on the fence, just do it this one time. Do it this one time. Vote for the Democrat to save the country. Listen to Liz Cheney. When everything goes back to normal, then become a Republican again, like Alyssa will become, and probably Anna.
Kamala said
I would say to those Republicans.
Yeah, they're all in the tank. They're all in the tank. Okay, so about that podcast, Colin Rugg made note of it that Kamala Harris says she went on the Call Her Daddy podcast because it talks about things people really care about. Just 2 episodes ago, 1 hour and 13 minutes were spent on you see what's on the screen. You can read that? Can you read that? I don't even know. Am I allowed to say that word? I think you and your listeners really have got this thing right. So we got the big media blitz happening right now. Did you see this? At the Jason Aldean concert? This is epic. Go vertical, Brian.
Real talent, you've been very good to me, and I appreciate it. And I'm going to be good to you. I hope everyone is having an incredible time with the great Jason Aldean, a friend of mine and a real talent. And you're in beautiful Macon. I love Macon. We took Macon by a lot, so I like it where I take it. I wish I could be there myself and listen to that incredible music, but Jason has really been a true American patriot, one of the greatest entertainers of our time. He's a very special person with an incredible wife and family. Every day his music inspires countless hard-working, God-fearing citizens all across our nation. You are the men and women who carry this country on your shoulders, and you are the heart and soul of America, and nobody's going to say any different. As you know, we are just 1 month away from the most important election in the history of our country. Our economy, our border, our safety, our freedom, it's all in trouble, it's bad, and we're going to change it around. So I just say, November 5th, get out and vote. You can vote early if you like, but the main thing is to vote. We're going to make America great again. You're all going to be very happy. Thank you very much.
Well, that's kind of hard to follow. One thing I could say is that's my guy, and I hope they're playing this if he wins right here.
Yeah, I don't think that if Kamala Harris popped up on a big screen, see, that was Donald Trump popping up on a big screen with the Jason Aldean concert, unexpected. Do you think that Kamala Harris would get the same reaction? I don't think so. That's why she has to go on all of these. She has to go on all these talk shows and try to drum up support from friendly media so they can spin her lies. So there you have it, folks. Kamala Harris, a heartbeat away from the presidency and hoping to be the next one, stumbling through softball interviews while the country faces real crises. It's clear she's out of her depth, but the media's soft pedaling is almost as concerning as her performance. Of course, we all deserve better. And I want to hear from you. What do you think Kamala's media blitz reveals about the administration's priorities? Are they out of touch, or is there something more sinister at play? Sound off in the comments.